Alright, guys. This is Failing Forward Forex here to give you the weekly overview for the pairs that I'm watching. The pairs that I always like to watch is gold, US30, and the euro. These are the ones that I predominantly like to watch. I also watch a couple other pairs, such as like USD Jappy and GBP Jappy, but I won't be going over those today. Today I'm just going to be going over gold, what I think will happen for gold short term and long term, and I'll take a look at the US30 as well. I also trade silver, but silver and gold are highly correlated. So typically, whatever happens with one will happen with the other. So we'll just keep it short, and we'll keep it strictly to gold this week. So here, looking at it on the weekly, I notice a couple things. First off, first things I notice are things like these are higher high, or this is a double top right here on the weekly. So this is a lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Failed to break the previous lower high, and then it failed to break the bottom right here. And this kind of looks like a W or a double bottom. Oh yeah, it definitely looks like a double bottom. I think just off of seeing this information alone, without taking too much of a deeper look at it, I'm thinking it could probably test the bottom one more time, get somewhere. We can get more specific when we get on the lower time frames, but I think we could test the bottom at least one more time and see a rejection all the way up to 1730, potentially even further. So let me just mark that out. It's like close enough. So 1730 is a level I think that we could see short term, and potentially 17. Oh wow, it's like 1800 right there. Let's mark 1800 just to be safe, just to see what it looks like. 1800 right there. Now, what else do I notice here? Okay, well, I could fib from here to here on the weekly. And wow, initially, what my levels were was 1790 for this, and 1789 is pretty close. So I'm going to actually move this down because I think that's a solid target. I'm actually going to go a little bit lower. Like 1785 is more like what I would actually take profits at. 1730 is also a good level, very close to the 23%. I'm going to leave it at 1730 just because I like the even numbers. I like to keep it nice and round. Let's see, what else can we find? Let's do a smaller fib here. And when we look at the smaller fib, it doesn't really show me too much here. Go ahead and stop using the fibs. Let's go down to the lower time frames. What do we see on the lower time frames here? Well, I'll show you what I see. Here in this huge downtrend, like I said, we're seeing highs, and then we're seeing lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, and then right here, it looks like it makes like a double top right here, but then fails to break the lower low. So it looks like it's a lower high, fails to break the lower low. So what I want to see is it break this and create a higher high and then a higher low back down at this level. So what I would love to see, and this is just a guess at what could happen, is I could I would like to see it break this level at 1730. I'd like to see it come back down and test around 1670, 1670 to 1685. So an area somewhere around something like this, like test of an area after seeing a break up here, and then taking buys down here to go even higher, potentially to 1800 or to 1785, which that's probably what I'll be looking for this week. This upcoming week for gold, I'll probably be looking to buy. But long term, I'm still a little bullish. I mean, a little bearish on gold. I think gold will go down a little bit more. I have a couple levels down here that are marked that I feel are pretty important. And the reasoning behind why I feel they're pretty important is because just looking back, some of these levels touch right here at the top of this zone, and this one was a strong level back all the way over here, creating the bottom way back in 2012. And so I have a feeling that if it continues with the bearish trend, that shorting it to these points, potentially even like 1575 or lower, 1550, somewhere around here, those are both strong levels. 1550 is actually a very strong level, it looks like. So 1550 is a level I see like some resistance coming in at for sure. Right here as well, 1600 or 1610 in that area as well. Very strong level. Definitely could see some resistance off of that. Now that we have two attempts to go down and, failed to break it both times. So now I'm going to be starting to look for buy opportunities and the break in market structure from being bearish to bullish. So let's see if we can notice any patterns when we look on the 4-hour. Turn off this. So I'm looking at the 4-hour. I'm also going to delete this rectangle because it's not very important at the moment. So let's create a rectangle down here. Let's go down to the bottom of that. Okay. So this is a level. If you can get in and buy down here and put your stop, 1610, 1611 even, you could have pretty good, as long as you see signs of rejection down here, you could have a pretty good long-term buy all the way up to 1730, I see. Because even when we look at it over here, it failed to break this low, and then it came up and it broke this high. So obviously the market structures on a bigger time frame is bearish, right? We looked at it. It's forming like a double bottom-ish kind of thing. But we can see it dropped, went in consolidation, dropped again, came back up, broke the level of consolidation that it had right here, and came up and tested this level of consolidation. So price is just kind of going back and forth a little bit, but on a smaller time frame, what that looks like is, scoot back a little bit. This is one of the higher or the lower highs. This is one of the lower lows right here, but this would be a lower low. Then it would fail to break even this. And then that's how you know it would be dropping, and then it continues that same trend on smaller time frames. So here's a lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, broke the previous high, and that high came up, made a higher high, higher low, higher high because it's higher than this high, higher low because it didn't break that, and shoots up. Then on the bearish again, which this I believe was at the start of the month, you can start to see the bearish trend come back into play, that same market structure, and now you're starting to see the same now you're starting to see the same market structure come right back in for the bullish trend. So you see created the higher highs, the lower highs and the lower lows, and then it broke those, created a higher high over here, even breaking these highs over here. Then it created a higher low, and then another higher high, and this is starting to look like another higher low. So even if I were to be eager and trade tonight, which I would not do, I never trade Sunday nights because that's when market just opens, and I usually try to wait until Monday mornings, and I usually don't like to trade Fridays either. Fridays are always a weird day. That's just because Fridays I feel like is where they try to trap you into trades for the weekend and just kind of try to get more money out of you than usual. As well as Sundays when the market's just open, they're going to try to get that money out of your account. And when I say they, I mean the market makers who control the market. So honestly, I'm looking for some buys coming up in this week. Some of the levels I'll be looking at trying to get into buys at are potentially, 1625. Hold on one second. All right, sorry about that. So yes, this week I will be looking for buys on gold, and we know that I'm taking them to try to get to 1730, and I'm going to be trying to get them as low or as close to this zone as possible, which is from 1614 to 1625 ish, 26 is where I would ideally want to take those buys. Now moving on to US 30. Long term on US 30, I'm pretty bearish. I'm a strong believer that the market needs to kind of have a bunch of correction from all of this inflation, and the higher we raise interest rates, the worse it is for the stock market because it makes the dollar really strong when you raise interest rates. So therefore, it's more value to keep your money in the dollar than it is to put it in stocks because stocks are just a price reflection of whatever company you invest them in. And the US 30 is the top 30 companies in the US. So if stocks go down in general, if their stocks go down because their interest payments get higher, because they have a lot of loans out, because that's how a lot of the US economy works, is through debt, then when interest rates go up, stocks go down because companies can't make that monthly return as profitable as it was when interest rates were lower because they're paying more money to the banks because the interest rates are up because the Fed changed the interest rates, and it strengthens the dollar because when you raise interest rates, it's a fight against inflation. So when you fight against inflation by increasing the value of the dollar, like what the Fed is doing currently, it almost inevitably always pushes the stock market down. So let's take a little bit of a deeper dive into this because overall I am short. So I will be selling as much as I can on this because also on the weekly here, we see a higher high, a higher low, or sorry, a higher high, then a lower low than what was previously marked right here. Or you could even take it closer. We'll zoom in a little bit so you guys can see this a little bit better. And I'll add, um, what's like another, I'll just do this. So even right here, this is a higher high. Then it breaks the previous low right here. So you can see right here, this becomes a lower low. This becomes a lower high. This becomes a lower low. This then now becomes a lower high. So what do you expect next? In a downtrend market, as it's been showing, you expect it to go test these bottoms. Lower low, lower high, lower low. Broke market structure, but I believe this was right around 2 months ago. So 2 months ago, there was a lot of news, lots of news about the Fed. Lots of people believed the Fed weren't going to hike interest rates as much as they were, and so they were really bullish on the stock market. Then the Fed came out and continued to hike interest rates as they said they were going to do, causing the market to come back into correction. And it may have faked a lot of people out because you could see a break in market structure, and you would think, you know, listening to what I was saying, oh, he broke market structure, now we're going to be going bullish. Well, that's one way that the markets will try to steal your money, is by showing you fake signals created by market makers. So always kind of be wary of the fake move, and that there is manipulation in this market. So you always have to keep that in mind, that these people are here to take your money, and you're here to be patient and to wait for your setups to come to you. So, anyways, back to what I was saying. Comes back down and creates another low. So now, what I'm looking for is I want to see a test of this level right here on the weekly. We'll zoom back out to my normal features here. Yeah. So on the daily, where do I expect it to go? I would expect it to go probably probably somewhere right here. This is where I would expect price to go next. And from here, we need to see how it would react in this area right here. Because that area, it's really big, it's a lot. But that area is where you could see price reverse, and you would put your stops above the previous high, and you would take it all the way down to the bottom. Now, there is a possibility that the stock market gains a lot of value and may potentially even break this high. But I'm not entirely sure this week. So what I'm still looking for, until I see signs that my overall bias is wrong and that the market's still in a bull market, until I see signs of that on a higher time frame, I will be looking to short. So every position I want to take on the US30, unless it's a very, very quick position, is going to be a sell. Because you see it broke this level right here. So if I saw it come back down and test this level, and I could get a pretty tight stop of, say, like 100 points or 50 points or something like that towards this previous low, and I was able to ride it up to this for like 800-point gain, that would be pretty good if I saw the confirmations for a trade, something like that, because I do think it has a lot of power, a lot of bullish power coming up right now. So I mainly want to see it come and hit these targets, or even test this high and then reject, going back down. My overall, I would love to see it come back down and test this bottom, basically. And so that's my game plan on the US30. And I believe that's all I got for you today. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and I'll keep you guys with more content coming your way. Failing forward, Forex